So what's the relationship between allergies and asthma? Are they the same? Are they cousins? Like, what's going on?
They might be cousins if we were talking about the pathophysiology family tree.
Pathophysiology.
When we look at people with different types of allergies, we use something called the atopic triad. And so they're basically these three types of hyperallergenic conditions. Triad. One of them is allergic asthma, one is eczema, and one is allergic rhinitis. By allergic rhinitis, I mean hay fever. I mean the sneezing and runny nose that you would get from seasonal allergies. And we call it that triad because people who have one often will have another. And those three conditions come together. So anyone who has this condition, they tend to just be hyperallergic.
So what's eczema? Is eczema an allergy? Like, is that an allergy in itself? Does it cause allergies? Like, what is the relationship?
Dang. So.
Did I stump you?
Hold on.
Stump the doc.
Hold on. Stop the press.
Stump the doc.
I'm allowed to take like a minute to think about something.
No, you're not.
I'm just supposed to be like an encyclopedia and be like,
you are.
All right.
You are. You're supposed to be like, the answer to that is...
Eczema can be caused by an allergy.
Okay.
If you have an allergy to something that's gonna come in contact with your skin, that can cause an eczematous flare. Like that adjective?
Eczematous.
That can cause a flare up,
Ooh,
right?
That sounds like a luxury car.
But here's the thing, a lot of eczema is not caused by allergies themselves. That's more of a hypersensitivity of your skin.
That
so what I
gives
would
you
say,
like a tip off that you might also be sensitive to other things.
we don't completely understand everything about why some people have really bad allergies versus others. We know that there's a genetic link between people with food allergies, but also children who have eczema, young babies, that's a strong risk factor for food allergies also.
You say allergic asthma. Is there another type of asthma?
So it really depends on the trigger. Asthma itself is this condition in which the tubes in your lungs can kind of spasm and they get narrower, and then you have this immune response, which causes things like chest tightness, trouble breathing, wheezing, etc. Allergies can induce that.
Oh, okay.
However, other things can as well. So things like certain respiratory colds can also cause that. Now, allergic asthma is when you get that reaction to an allergen, which we've talked about. But you can also get it from occupational things, some substance you may be working with or around. For example, like cigarette smoke or other chemicals. Kids can also get it from exercise. We call that exercise-induced asthma. You can also get it from respiratory colds such as RSV or different types of viruses. So it all depends on the trigger, but oftentimes the symptoms can be very similar.
So it's tricky for doctors to figure out if it's allergic asthma or asthma.
The intellectual hairs on my back just stood up. So we actually really take a good history if and when parents talk to us about symptoms which sound like asthma.
I keep journals of symptoms and reactions. I take a lot of pictures. Is that weird?
Not at
Like
all.
of like little dry patches.
Those are
and
helpful, actually.
cracks and-
Those are helpful. All that stuff is really helpful for doctors to be able to say, like, is this an allergy? Or is it a cold? Or is it something else? Or it really helps them kind of narrow it down. And remember, use your parental instinct, because if it's like, a skin condition, but you're worried it may turn into anaphylaxis or a severe reaction, you're still gonna see.
Yes.
If you see hives, you don't know what it is, it's okay to
Hives.
call your doctor. Breathing issue, even moving away from allergies, we're gonna always say to call your doctor, because here's the thing. You might hear wheezing and say, oh, this is just asthma, but it could actually be an inhaled Lego. Seen that before, which will also cause wheezing. So you don't wanna sit at home and try to play disease detective if your kid is having trouble breathing, because it could be a range of different things, not just asthma.
So asthma, eczema,
Allergic rhinitis.
allergic rhinitis.
You got 2 out of 3 of the atypic triad. And remember, so those things tend to cluster in certain individuals, but also genetics play a part. It's hard to try to tease this out. It's confusing for even me, less confusing for allergists. So when in doubt,
Go to an allergist. All right. So asthma and eczema. The end.
I was like, we already went there, but let's do it. Asthma and eczema.
Close. Scene.